Gashmir and the Nameless King, with them here. I can't talk about marrying my kids off. The Ice Queen and the Ghost Sword too. It'll be difficult for me to bring up Jin and Yona. I'm sure of Miss Thalaris came here to talk about the engagement. And who's the other guy? Sit, Kashmir. I'm the one who called you here. My apologies. Thalaris, the unwelcome guest are not him, but you and Owl, he said. Owl? That's the name of the Nameless King. Did something happen to young Master Jim? No. It hasn't been long since young Master Jim left for Samel. What the hell happened in that short amount of time? Sorrel said, you already had an appointment. Chiron said, I called you here to have a drink with me, but let's do that after the other to leave. I hope you understand. Kashmir replied, of course. That's not a problem, Sir Chiron. All right. Is the youngest doing well? Young Master Jim left Samel around the time I left to come here. The reason was to train in preparation for poison and assassination. Why is he always go to with a dangerous? What'll happen to my daughter if he dies? To be honest, I came here to talk about him. It's not something I would like to share in front of the Ice Queen and Ghost Sword, just say it. The Ice Queen is one of my friends, which I have very few of, and the Ghost Sword is very tight-lipped, so there won't be a problem. The claw of a slipper dragon. How amusing. Even you couldn't predict that. So, what was the youngest request you accepted? He asked to clear the record of him coming to Samel, from everyone, excluding the civilians, nameless cadets and killers. The story begins with a fight in Samel. Someone is hit by an attack. One soldier lost to the enemy's successive attacks. Don't be flustered. They're just mere killers. What is the meaning of this? His name was really not afraid of the Rung-Cannel family's wrath. I don't know why you are doing this, but we are the Rung-Cannel Interim Patriarchs. One soldier finally lost because he didn't focus on the battle. On the one hand, the assassins of Samel appeared themselves. We killed the knights who were chasing after the reserve flag bearer. The youngest flag bearer noticed and asked, and you're worried that I'll ask you to pay because of that, although it's embarrassing to say, because it was just a couple of knights. He has an eye for purging. That wicked child. Don't worry. There would have been no problem even if you killed hundreds. I'm very thankful that you understand what this junior of yours feels. But Sir Chiron, apologies, but there is one more thing I would like to say. Please read this note. I think the youngest flag bearer left this in Samel before he left. This isn't something I should reveal in front of the Ice Queen and the Ghost Sword. And Chiron was surprised by the contents of the letter. The story continues they're sleeping without a care in the world. I came to get my sword before I meet the Nameless King. Did I just the medicine wrong? Whatever. Sleep well. You guys have gone through hell since you arrived, so it makes sense you're all tired. While taking poison, Jim was surprised to find a piece of paper, and the letter said, Hi Jin, my youngest brother. That's the elixir of 10,000 poisons. If you drink this and max out your mind's eye, no other killer will be able to kill you. It will be hard for me to do that as well, and when the time comes, I won't be able to give you a surprise gift. What a shame. Anyways, see you next time, Jin. Be well. And happy birthday from your beloved older sister. Jin said, That's right. I forgot about it when I came here, although it's a little too early. Jin said, Also have a gift to give you, elder sister. The story returns to Chiron, who was reading a letter containing, Since Sister Yona gave me the elixir of 10,000 poisons, please negotiate with my father about the Skretli, Nameless King. It is equivalent to the elixir of 10,000 poisons in value, so it'll be enough to ask delay Sister Yona's return. Although this method is despicable, I also kept my promise, so I trust that you will also keep the promise you made with me. If Yona puts her mind to it, I also find it difficult to find her. She was already gone. Beside, a little note, I was backstabbed several times. Chiron laughed loudly at Sir Owl's tense expression. You fell for that child's play, even though you're above him? Don't tell me this is a plan you both made because you want to keep Yona. It wasn't just you who fell for it. I did too. I will officially send you an invitation, so visit the Garden of Swords soon. Let's discuss this matter then. Kashmir, Ankarius about what you have to say too. You reply, Yes, it's about the death of Kedart Hall, the Archmage. I've come here to tell you that young Master Jim was behind it. Chiron said, I see. Can the unwelcome guest leave now? I would like to drink with the Ghost Sword. Then this junior of yours will now take his leave. She said, I can stay, right? I already know everything. Chiron replied, No, you leave too, because this is an important conversation. I'm going to spread rumors about what power your son has to my boyfriends. Stop saying ridiculous things and leave. The story continues. Jin is emoting through his friends, but telling them to leave quickly. We were tired when we found you, but now we're even more tired. If you have a conscience, you should stay with us for a few more days. Then Jin began to stress out with the behavior of the two of them. Are you both interim patriarchs? Jin said, You shouldn't. Be wasting your days here. Why are you here? They replied, I'll get busier when I become the patriarch, which means I can't see you. And our families are in a bloody feud, Jin said. Before that happens, you should be concerned about becoming the patriarch. Don't worry about that. No matter what happens, my position is solidified, so I can still become the patriarch, Danny's grandfather. The Harian patriarch is personally supporting him. Sorry, but unlike you both, I'm very busy. Didn't Kedart Hall die not long ago? I told you it wasn't me. You're treating us like strangers again, and you don't think about the things you don't tell me. Are you going to continue being petty? Won't the amount of time we can spend together decrease when you become a flag bearer? Like Veridin said, if we become tape patriarchs, we really might not be able to see you anymore. Then we should have fun before that time comes. Don't you need a reputation in order to become a flag bearer? You said you weren't behind Kedard Hall's death, so it can't be helped. So just travel with us. We'll help you build your reputation. How about helping people? Good idea, let's catch highly wanted criminals. The kings of Mammoth, Jackalow, the rabid dog of West Beemit, or the recently active Dark Magic Association's rebels, or Willick, Vankella's sinful knight, or the Panther of the Red Guards. Are you suggesting the three of us go on an adventure? That's impossible. Then they offer consent to become adventurers. But Jin thought it was impossible to join them. At the same time, Jin woke up, but he was in bed. He was surprised at how he got home. Jin remembered that he was drunk with Veridin and Dante, and the last thing he remembered was that he left using the teleportation gate, and Jin is still confused because his body feels fresher. At the same time, Ms. Enya also woke up. Jin remembered something about the elixir of 10,000 poisons. He drank it after he got here, and then he passed out after drinking it. You fainted. Within a few minutes, your body turned dark, and that process repeated. At the same time, Miss Enya was surprised by the arrival of Miss Quicontel. She asked about the state of Jin who fainted after drinking elixir of 10,000 poison. It's been 5 days. Usually those who drink the elixir of 10,000 poisons are out for a month in order to get used to it. I think you woke up early thanks to the great physique the Rung Candles are blessed with. Jin was happy because he woke up quickly like usual. He said, "Did anything happen while I was sleeping?" She replied, "Nothing really. Besides Sir Kashmir returning, Miss Gilly left for a moment. There was an urgent summons from the family, so she used the teleportation gate at dawn today and traveled toward Runcandle. To the main house, Gilly would return quickly, so it isn't something bad." Then Enya asked permission to go out and tell the others if Jin was awake. The story continues where Jin is looking with a purple drink in front of him. It's nothing weird. Think of this as a celebration for waking up early. Jin immediately drank it without checking first. "So, how do you feel?" "My stomach feels a little hot, but that's all. It's a poison I ordered that jet bastard to get from the black market. If lethal poison that will instantly kill anyone who's not a 7-star or above with one gulp. Way the hell did you feed to someone who just woke up?" Moroccan played a stupid prank. But with this, the elixir of 10,000 poisons has been absorbed into your body well. Congratulations. There are no poisons in this world that can kill you. Then you should keep your promise. As payment for Miss Quicontel's class, Jin will help Miss Naya with her training. Enya is training well, but she's only well-versed in theory, and she has never done anything practical. If she ever needs to capture an opponent, Enya does not have any experience in that. Jin said, "You really need to make Miss Enya do those things." She replied, "Jin Rung Candle, everyone here is your comrade. When you fight against your siblings in the future, it means we will support you too." You meant that Enya doesn't need to fight when that time comes. It seems like she's scolding me. Outside the room, Enya listened to all of Jin's talks. Enya needs to become stronger. Strong enough that you can call her your comrade. Don't worry, I just decided what our next destination is. After hearing all of Jin's talk, Enya went straight into the room with a happy expression, and she felt happy because she felt she was going on a date with Jin. Meanwhile, in the Garden of Swords, something interesting happened at Samel. In front of the room, there are 2 guards on standby. Their Chiron was interrogating Joshua and asked, "Is something wrong?" because Yona was late to return. On the other hand, Sir Al and Gilly saw Joshua who was being interrogated. Chiron is still trying to get Joshua to talk about what he's hiding, but he's still silent and scared. Joshua thinks if I tell him about it, I'll die. Seeing that Joshua would not talk, Chiron took the glove and said, "I will make you talk, Joshua." Chiron slapped Joshua with the iron glove with 2% power. Shocked face, panic, pain, all felt by Joshua. It was very painful. Chiron's face was emotional while saying, "Stand up, Joshua. Are you that weak?" Joshua stood up, with a resigned face that could do nothing. A second punch was delivered to Joshua's face, causing him to spit red liquid from his mouth. At the same time, Gilly closed her eyes, unable to watch Joshua's torture. Joshua bowed his head. Chiron ordered Joshua to open the black metal armor on his body. The armor was in the form of a black singlet with wing-like paintings. Chiron was very disappointed with Joshua because he was the second flag bearer in Rung Candle, but was defeated by the youngest who was only a temporary flag bearer. The third punch went right into Joshua's stomach, and he immediately fell down in pain. Meanwhile, Sir Al didn't expect Joshua to be like this, and Chiron will not give mercy to anyone who dares to touch Yona. Chiron discusses the armor that Joshua is wearing is still pure, and there are no battle marks. Basic coward, the word that Chiron said to Joshua. At the same time, Chiron stood upright and said that he would revoke the title of flag bearer on Joshua. In a state of trembling body, Joshua fell silent hearing his father's words. Helped by the soldier, he stood up to leave the room. In the hallway, his brother laughed evilly at the sight of Joshua being beaten. But in the depths of Joshua's heart, he was angry, resentful, frustrated with the situation. After Joshua left, Chiron called Gilly to ask if the youngest was okay. Gilly explained that the youngest was fine. He was resting after drinking the 10,000 poisons elixir obtained from Samel. Chiron ordered Gilly to give the armor to the youngest and convey all these events to him. With a bow of her head, she accepted all of Chiron's request. At the same time, the youngest was surprised. Gilly explained that Joshua was punished by your father. The black metal armor was handed to the youngest. It turned out that the metal armor was made 30 years ago by the legendary blacksmith Pick and Minch. The youngest was thinking of a way to inflict damage on the armor. Otherwise, it would be a serious problem because he couldn't use Yona anymore for negotiations with his father. Gilly was immediately surprised to hear the reason Joshua was beaten, because he dared to touch Yona. Jin remembered Yona's words, that Yona and he both had secrets. To clear his mind, the youngest has a plan to go to a place that is magic. The goal is to eradicate the Black Magic Association rebels. They are a guild that was subdued 100 years ago, but lately the guild is still around. Like a barren desert, this is the southern region of Beemit. Guess who it is? Yes, it's Miss Enya in disguise, because this used to be her area. So, don't let anyone recognize her. The Dark Magic Association, an organization that reached its peak 100 years ago. As the name implies, they glorified the magic of the dark world. And when they were at their peak, they made such an impact that the entire continent was in a terrible state. The person who had disbanded them was Real Zipf. For the first and last time, that woman used annihilating 1,000 fires, Mako, first form, to kill the leader of the Dark Magic Association. Real Zipfel was Sodere's previous contractor, and in Jin's previous life, Sodere wanted me to follow in her path. But Jin had to become stronger and pass the test that Real Zipfel left behind. At the same time, Miss Enya explains the associate members of Dark Magic are just bad people who kidnap children. As a result, the people there always look gloomy and unhappy. The youngest had a reason why he thought that if Beemit didn't eradicate the Dark Magic Association, it was to give the Witch Academy a chance to act. Miss Enya was surprised by the youngest's detailed thinking. A few minutes later, the sound of a horse-drawn carriage was heard. The Noble Academy witches appeared in the crowd of people. One witch who looked old just kept silent, not showing a happy face with their arrival, because the Academy witches only showed their arrogance. Jin commented, they would all die. They couldn't possibly defeat the Dark Magic Association. The story continues with a freshly fried fish on the plate. The two of them disguised themselves as sisters having lunch. Ms. Enya asked the youngest, why do you think the academies will all die, even though they are all 4 stars? That's why they will die, because they have no combat experience. Unlike the people from the Dark Magic Association, they're veterans who have lived with suffering. Jin looked back while watching their behavior. They laughed loudly because they were happy that there were people begging for help. At the same time, the youngest invited Ms. Enya to go, but she didn't hear Jin. She looked frightened by something. She still remembers when she was in the Beemit. She was often bullied and laughed at by the 3 of them. When she was called for the 3rd time, Ms. Enya just realized. Jin predicted that Ms. Enya must have had a problem with the 3 of them. Jin got even more annoyed with their behavior. When he stood up and left the dining table, Rudy looked at them with an intimidating look. One of them looked at the youngest and asked, who are you? You don't look like a waitress. Rudy didn't respond to them, but he was looking at Miss Enya trembling and scared. Then the silver-haired boy stood up and pointed a magic wand and asked about the organization. The youngest didn't answer because he was confused about the name of the organization. At the same time, the shop owner came out to stop them, but he was hit with a magic wand and the shop owner fell down in pain. Jin was exasperated by his taunts, so he clasped his hands. Not waiting long, a punch landed on the Academy cadet's face. His 2 friends were surprised at the audacity of the youngest who dared to hit a nobleman. They planned to retaliate and restrain the youngest from running away, but Jin ignored them and went outside. The fat student was sweating, seeing the aura that Rudy gave off. He also told him about the troops of the 1st Bureau of the 3rd Division. Miss Enya was confused about the meaning of the special forces that the youngest said. They thought all of Jin's talk was just nonsense and told Jin not to pretend to be them. While sighing, the youngest used his 2 fingers to make magic. They were still talking a lot, not realizing their bodies were hit. A few seconds later, they were bowed down in pain, unable to breathe. Their throats seemed to be blocked. Then Jin told them to stand up, stop bullying the weak. Otherwise, Jin would drag them to the interrogation room. Academy students were scared, asking for a chance to make amends. Then Jin gave them a task. He would act as your servant and watch right from your side. They were shocked by Rudy's strange plan. It took too long to answer. Rudy intimidated them with magic, so that they agreed. In the same time, Jin approached Enya and said, How was my acting? Then Jin told Miss Enya to take turns acting. Miss Enya excitedly told them to move. They could only surrender and follow orders. Jin saw Anya's behavior and was very happy and satisfied because indirectly Rudy had helped her get back a bullion. 2 weeks later, October 22nd, 1796, the cadets gathered to begin clearing operations and organize strategy. One of the cadets whispered, "Doesn't one of the dark magic people have a 7-star mage? Are we going to be okay?" In the back row, the silver-haired student glanced back at Jin and Enya's behavior. The first group started walking through the forest. Just walking a few steps, Jin felt something strange. Suddenly, an orc appeared in front of them with a large body. All the cadets panicked, screaming, because it was the first time they saw a large orc. But there was one cadet who used elemental magic. The magic directly hit the orc's body. The orc bounced back and died immediately. The cadets laughed, underestimating the orc monster and the dark magic members. The head member suggested resting in the open, but Jin knew it was a very dangerous thing. An intimidating face appeared. Jin told him to talk to the member leader to change places, but the chief member was ignorant of those words, still chose to rest here and put up protection. After the break was over, they found the mouth of the cave. The head member told the arch leader to stay here and wait for the other groups, while he entered first along with several cadets. On the way, suddenly the wall beside one of the students exploded. An orc appeared behind the wall explosion. One of the students shouted to the arch leader for orders, but the chief member was in the enemy's place. Betrayed, with an evil smile, he said he would kill them all to be used as research subjects. The students were terrified, unable to do anything, planning to run out of the cave. Before they left the cave, the chief member ordered all the orcs to capture them all. At the same time, he was surprised that there was a bright blue light. He looked up. There was a big blob of magic energy. His face panicked seeing that, not believing that someone was using that magic. On the other hand, Jin told Enya to stay close to him, because the situation would now become chaotic. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the story. See you again.